OpenAI just signed a 7-year, $38 billion agreement with AWS, Amazon Web Services. And that's $38 billion with a B. And that's the type of money that's needed for legit infrastructure. And what's most interesting to me is that I think this is like a deeper play. There's something else going on here than what's being reported. It's not just some fancy update or a new LLM model drop. This deal is about who controls the actual engine room of the entire internet. Now, as you know, everyone is obsessed with different things, and most people are obsessed online, especially on YouTube, with front-end AI, the flashy stuff. So think of ChatGPT, Midjourney, Sora, whatever. But here's the truth hardly anyone's talking about. All of that flashy front-end AI stuff lives and dies by computing power. So we have GPUs, data centers, power, cooling, racks and racks of silicon chips spinning so that our chatbots don't stutter when we ask it some weird 10,000 word essay about quantum theory, or when we ask it to build us a blog, use the AI to build a blog, or when we ask it to read a 500-page PDF. All of that is powered somewhere by something, right? And OpenAI just locked in a pipeline to one of the biggest compute factories on Earth, AWS. So in this video, I want to talk about what does that actually mean for us? It seems like a big deal, right? And I think it means the invisible layer beneath everything we touch just got a massive upgrade. But you can be the judge if this is for the better or for the worse, because some people are saying it's for the worse, right? It means, and this is what it means, the apps that we use daily, the recommendations we get, the magic, quote unquote, that happens when, say, Spotify knows your mood. That's a really good example with Spotify, or Amazon knows your restocks for your detergent. Kind of creepy, right? All of that is about to get 100 times smarter, faster, creepier, because OpenAI is not just training models anymore. They are building infrastructure that other companies will depend on. This is a huge play. Let's put this in perspective, right? For the last couple of years, Microsoft has basically been OpenAI's sugar daddy, I guess you could say. That's a bad way of putting it. But Azure has hosted their training clusters, the GPUs, the scale. But this new deal is a huge new signal. And to me, it seems like OpenAI is spreading its wings, or maybe it's actually hedging its bets, but maybe a combination of the two, right? They're moving from being a guest in Microsoft's house to building condos across the street with Amazon. It's a big deal. It's like as if Tesla started buying gas stations. Everyone would stop and go like, wait a second, what is going on here? Amazon, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon wins big here too. AWS has always been the backbone of the internet, but lately it's been losing the AI conversation. It's been out of the loop, right? Microsoft got the hype initially. Google had the research. OpenAI had the spotlight. And Amazon, they had Prime boxes and cloud servers nobody thought about, nobody thinks about. But now they've got OpenAI. And that's a huge flex, because whoever owns the infrastructure of the next generation of AI doesn't just win the cloud war, they win the entire economy. Now, zooming out, if you are wondering why $38 billion matters, it's because computing power is the new oil. And this basically is the oil pipeline being built straight from OpenAI's headquarters into Amazon's data centers. It is pretty wild. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA GPUs, millions of CPUs, entire new facilities just to keep the lights on for AI, artificial intelligence. The kind of scale that makes a power grid engineer sweat. And this is happening in kind of my backyard right now. We're seeing these huge things being built out. And here's the wildest part. You will never see it. They're just these nondescript, huge buildings. We'll never see it, right? It's kind of going to be invisible physically, but we are going to feel it everywhere. And for an example, just think about your next Uber ride. The routing, the pricing, the surge prediction, the driver matching, all optimized by AI models running on this exact infrastructure. Now, to be more personal, think about your Amazon shopping experience. It's already being tuned by generative AI that predicts not just what you want, right, but when you'll want it. We've all seen it. It's freaky. And think about the next movie on Netflix that weirdly fit your mood that night, recommendation models trained on infrastructures like this is how that happens, and it's going to become even weirder. And you might think of this just like as a tech company story, but it is going to rewrite our daily life. It's going to be rewritten by these weird invisible machines, and it's kind of dystopian when I personally compare it to, Thoreau's Walden Pond. If we compare what I'm talking about here to Thoreau's Walden Pond years and years ago, this is a weird time. But if we're going to face the facts, this is how revolutions actually happen. It's not with crazy hyped up product launches or conferences, but with billion-dollar contracts signed behind closed doors. When Google launched search, nobody cared about the servers. When, say, YouTube exploded, nobody thought about bandwidth. Now AI is doing the same thing, but this time the infrastructure itself is the story, because the moment OpenAI has a level of guaranteed power from AWS of speed, scalability, the entire playing field will shift. Smaller startups that can't get compute may be out of luck. Just think of that for a second, right? Smaller startups that need compute for some concepts they want to test may not be able to get it, right? Big players like Meta or Anthropic are forced to scale faster. It's going to be a race. Governments will scramble to regulate energy consumption. And me and you, we're going to be sitting there with our phones. We'll just start to notice the internet feels different kind of slowly over time, kind of like a frog, in that proverbial boiling pot of water. So think about it this way to get more granular. If every website, every application on your phone, every ad that you and me see starts to feel different because it's optimized, it's written or generated by AI agents running on this mega infrastructure, what is left for actual organic internet stuff? I mean, that's a terrible way of putting it. Internet stuff that's organic. Think of Reddit. For some reason, Reddit comes to mind. People talking to each other on the internet. That might be a remnant of the past eventually. The old web, it was built by who? By people. By people. But the new one is being built for machines that are going to act upon the behalf of people. People, I'm calling it, and people are calling it the agentic web. The agentic web. And this deal is one of the first major steps into that world. So let me make this more real. In the next 2 years, let's say, when you book a flight, you're just going to say, book me a flight. And your agent, powered by OpenAI's models, won't just search kayak for you. It'll browse dozens of airline sites. It'll compare rewards. It'll confirm your seat. It'll know your preferences, by the way. And that's all without you ever opening a browser. And that's the agentic web. That's agentic AI. And it doesn't work unless the infrastructure behind it is big enough, right, to handle billions of simultaneous tasks. And that is what this fund, this deal is all about, right? It's a cloud deal, but it's also the backbone of the next digital civilization. But here's where it gets messy though. So massive compute means massive control. This is where it gets a little freaky. When you centralize AI into the hands of a few companies, right? OpenAI, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, you don't just get faster chatbots. You get, some would say, right, quote unquote, monopolies over intelligence itself. You have a power struggle. You have, maybe companies vying for monopolies or control versus intelligence and helpfulness. What becomes the motives depends upon the shareholders, right? Because whoever owns the servers owns the data, and whoever owns the data controls every behavior of every AI agent built on top of it. And this is how digital empires form. That is the uncomfortable truth about this video. You cannot decentralize intelligence without decentralizing the compute, the actual GPUs, CPUs, energy. If you do not decentralize that, you cannot decentralize anything. And compute is hard. It's a hard one to crack. It's expensive, it's energy hungry, it's geographically constrained. And for this foreseeable future, every time you use an AI app, you're basically renting a few seconds of thought from a $1 trillion company. And they decide the terms. And to put this all into perspective so you can prepare yourself, the old internet of 2 years ago and before was like a library. And we all felt it. We all used Google and different search engines, Bing, whatever. It was a library where we sought out books or websites for us to read and do research. But the new internet is not a library anymore. It is a butler. It is a robotic butler. It's kind of weird. And the butler will do what we ask it, but the butler will have programming inside of its head that's already predisposed to certain ideas and methods. And that is what we all need to consider moving forward. Now realize this video was meant to be realistic but not pessimistic. I think there's tons of opportunity for all of us right now and into the future. Things will change though. That's the point. Things are changing, and be aware of it, because if you are aware of it, you can make money when disruption happens, when change happens. Those moments in history are the best times to make money, right? So come join me in the Rank Expand Academy. It's one of the fastest growing school communities in the tech category on this platform. We teach you how to use AI to make money online ASAP. And we talk about these type of industry changes so we can all be ahead of the curve.